Surrogate mom who gets a DNA test is caught off guard by the results. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to m&rtv and hit the bell so you never miss any upload from us. Also, leave a like right now. Bringing a child into the world is tough, a journey even more complicated for surrogates. So when Jessica Allen volunteered to be one for a couple wanting children, she took plenty of time to prepare herself for the physical and emotional feat. However, no amount of planning could have possibly readied her for the nightmare she was forced to face. California resident Jessica Allen was a proud mom of two. She carried both of her own children, so she knew all the nitty-gritty details of bringing children into the world, and if it meant helping out another family, Jessica would gladly carry a child again. Jessica signed up to become a surrogate, all in hopes of helping a family in need while making a few bucks. She thought she found the perfect couple who were simply desperate to create a child from their own DNA. Their struggle touched Jessica's heart. The couple was from China, but since surrogacy isn't yet legal in their country, they trekked it to the United States to find a surrogate to deliver the child they always wanted. In 2016, Jessica agreed to carry for them. With the help of San Diego-based Omega Family Global, it was a done deal. In April 2016, the couple's male embryo was implanted in Jessica's uterus via in vitro fertilization. Everyone had their fingers crossed. To prepare her womb, Jessica took estrogen and progestogen as instructed. She followed her IVF doctor's orders to a T to ensure that the pregnancy would go smoothly. The embryo took, and everything went well, up until the 6-week mark. Jessica was told she was carrying twins, 1, 2. She thought there was only one baby, refusing to pay rent in her uterus, so you can imagine the shock of the situation. The couple didn't know what hit them. The doctor explained it's not often that a singular embryo will split, but it does happen. While Jessica was originally paid a whopping $30,000 plus expenses to carry the Chinese couple's offspring, after they discovered she was hosting twins, she received an additional $5,000 a month. Moving forward, all was well with the babies. On December 12, 2016, 38 weeks into the pregnancy, Jessica gave birth to 2 healthy babies via C-section. Directly after the birth, doctors darted away with the babies, Jessica not even getting a mere glance at them. According to Jessica, she signed a contractual agreement that allowed her to spend an hour after the birth with the children she nurtured and cultivated for 9 months, so the fact that they were immediately rushed away from her was suspicious. Later that night, Jessica was shown a photo of the newborns, who doctors insisted were identical twins. When Jessica took a look at the picture, however, something seemed very off. Unless the definition of the word identical recently changed, Jessica just knew those little ones were not identical twins. One, his skin tone was much fairer than the other. One looked full Chinese, the other didn't look full Chinese, Jessica told People. It was very clear that they were not identical, but I didn't ask questions, she continued. Jessica was undoubtedly troubled by the situation, but a caseworker with the surrogacy agency guaranteed that the children were identical twins, despite their polarizing physical features. After the birth, Jessica and her hubby, Wardell Jasper, used the hefty chunk of cash they received from the surrogacy to help pay for a new house. Just as they were prepared to move into their dream home, there was an interruption. Weeks after the birth, Jessica received a text from the intended mother with photos of the newborns. She was clearly having doubts regarding who the babies belonged to, as she probed Jessica, asking her if she noticed that they looked different. After much speculation, the babies got a DNA test, and it turned out that they were 100% not related. See, one of the infants belonged to Jessica and her husband, but how was this possible? Jessica and her husband followed the doctor's orders and abstained from sex until after she was confirmed pregnant with the other couple's embryo. Unfortunately, they were still at risk for a rare medical phenomenon called superfetation. Superfetation happens when a woman continues to ovulate after becoming pregnant. Understandably, Jessica had no idea this was a potential issue, since only approximately 0.3% of women are affected. Jessica and her husband were wallowing in the most intense level of panic mode. They desperately wanted their new son home, who they named Malachi, but the Chinese couple weren't handing over that infant until Jessica and Wardell handed over $22,000. My husband and I were panicking. We had no idea how this came about, and we had no idea how we were going to prepare for a child overnight. We just moved into a new house. We didn't have any more money, Jessica said. If Jessica didn't give the couple that wad of cash soon, the intended mother threatened to put little Malachi up for adoption. They wanted me to buy or adopt my own child, Jessica told People. Believe it or not, Jessica Allen wasn't angry with the intended mother, as Jessica thought she may have been manipulated. It's not her fault. The agency put it in her head that I was going to try to sue her. I never said those words, she explained. Things got worse once the other mother started sending Jessica all kinds of text messages, out of fear that she'd get sued. We tried to get him 3 different times, and they just kept giving us an excuse, Jessica said. It was messy. We tried to get him on numerous occasions, but one excuse they gave us was the intended parents didn't want to sign over the power of attorney, so we didn't get him, Jessica disclosed. But in February 2017, Jessica and Wardell finally retrieved Malachi. Since reuniting with their son, the emotional and financial stress of the situation made bliss a distant concept for Jessica and Wardell. The events sadly put them in debt. We're barely getting by right now, and it stressed me out emotionally because this agency turned their backs on me, Jessica said, clearly jaded. Naturally, Jessica vowed never to be a surrogate again. The ordeal also involved ugly battles with lawyers and a brooding waiting game for Malachi's birth certificate and social security card. The only upside of all this was that Jessica gained a beautiful son. Though she and her husband were heartbroken that Malachi had to spend his first 10 months in the hands of flaky strangers, Jessica relayed that watching the little man grow has eased some of that pain and guilt. What also helped the Allens cope was knowledge that in the grand scheme of things, they could have been separated from Malachi for much longer. After all, they knew all about Shannara Mobley. On July 10, 1998, a young woman named Shannara Mobley gave birth to a beautiful baby girl in Florida. At age 16, she knew she had a long road ahead of her, but it wouldn't be paved with diapers and late-night feedings as she'd expected. The hours following the birth were hazy to the exhausted Shannara, so when a nurse walked into her room, the encounter didn't stand out. She noticed the nurse's thick glasses and oddly colored wig, but was in too much post-delivery pain to care. Amid her grogginess, Shannara expressed fear about her future to the nurse. The nurse helped Shannara change her hospital gown and even gave her some advice. Comforted, Shannara didn't think twice when, out of nowhere, the nurse said the baby looked sick. Too groggy to question it, Shannara watched as the nurse cradled the newborn in her arms and swiftly left the room. That was the last time Shannara would see her daughter for almost 20 years. So why did the nurse do it? This was the question newscasters asked as Shannara's story spread. She pleaded with the public to help her get her baby back, and the story flashed across countless TV screens for years, including the TV screen of a young Alexis Manigo, a girl who knew nothing of heartbreak or loss. Up until she was 17, Alexis lived a carefree life with her 2 brothers and her mom, Gloria. From the beginning, Alexis and Gloria shared a special bond. It makes sense why Gloria idolized her daughter. Before Alexis came into her life, Gloria and her 2 sons lived in a state of constant fear. A single mom struggling to make ends meet, Gloria also endured an abusive relationship with a man named Charles Manigo. When she found out she was pregnant, Gloria hoped the new baby would help, but this wasn't the case. Even when she was pregnant, Charles would beat her. Gloria knew she couldn't raise a baby in such a violent household, so she cut off all communication with Charles. When Alexis was born, she brought vitality and hope back into Gloria's life. Gloria was mother and father to Alexis, the person who supported her through her first steps and first days of school. They weren't only mother and daughter, they were best friends. This made Alexis's teenage years difficult for Gloria to accept, emotionally and financially. With college on the horizon, Alexis tried to get a job to help with her expenses. It wasn't long, however, before she ran into an alarming problem. No matter where she looked, she couldn't find her social security number. She needed to find it, and fast. Without this crucial information, getting a job and going to college would be impossible. Naturally, Alexis asked her mother for help. Immediately, Gloria started to panic. She knew the secret she had concealed for years had to be revealed, so she sat her daughter down on their front porch and told her the story of the day she was born. But this time, she told Alexis the real story. At first, Alexis thought her mom was kidding, but as the story unfolded, it was clear that every detail was all too real. Alexis couldn't believe the truth. Gloria wasn't her mother, she was her kidnapper. Though she grew up as Alexis Manigo, her real name was Kamaya. Anyone from Florida knew the story of poor baby Kamaya, who had been kidnapped from the hospital mere hours after she was born. And everyone knew the story of Kamaya's grieving mother, Shannara Mobley. When Gloria told Alexis the truth, all Alexis could do was ask herself the same question Shannara and the media had asked themselves for years. Why? Gloria, it turns out, was in a desperate state back in 1998. The hope she had of appeasing Charles with a baby was dashed when she had a miscarriage. Kidnapping Kamaya was Gloria's panic-ridden attempt to regain hope for a better life. Everything Alexis knew, her family, her home, and even her name, were all a sham because of Gloria. With this in mind, Gloria waited nervously for Alexis's reaction, but Alexis's response was the last thing Gloria expected. Alexis looked at her mother and realized how supportive she'd always been, so Gloria wasn't her biological mother. In that moment, Alexis didn't care. She saw Gloria not as her kidnapper, but as the loving woman who raised her. But when Alexis told some friends of her true identity, it wasn't long before the police were knocking on the family's door, looking for Gloria. Alexis pleaded with her mother to hide, but Gloria knew the jig was up. Once the police confirmed the truth, Shannara received the phone call she'd been waiting almost 20 years for. Gloria, meanwhile, traded her nurse's costume for an orange jumpsuit. She watched, devastated, from behind bars as Alexis reunited with her birth mother. Though Shannara wanted her daughter to go by her birth name, Alexis insisted on staying Alexis Manigo. Everyone from Shannara to the police to the jury saw the special connection Alexis and Gloria shared, despite the illegal way they came together. During the trial, Alexis was caught in between two worlds, the world that could have been and the only world she knew. Though Alexis had finally met her biological family, it pained her to see Gloria in jail, especially after her sentence was finalized. Gloria was sentenced to 18 years in prison, the same time span Shannara had been kept away from her beloved daughter. For Shannara, this sentencing was a small price to pay for what she deemed an unforgivable crime. According to Shannara, the hardest part is competing with a kidnapper for Alexis's love. It's likely that Shannara will always be in competition with Gloria, even with Gloria behind bars. As Alexis said of Gloria, she made a mistake, but I was loved. Gloria is a big part of my heart.